There is a moment in every person's life when they realize that waiting is no longer an option. Maybe today is that moment for you. Maybe you spent years watching other people build the life you dreamed about. Maybe you've convinced yourself that success belongs to someone else, that they were luckier, smarter, richer, or born with something you don't have. But what if everything you've believed about your limits is wrong? What if the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the story you've been telling yourself? Because here's the truthy, you don't get what you deserve in life. You get what you're willing to fight for. Dreams don't come true because you wish hard enough. They come true because you become the kind of person who refuses to quit. Today is not about motivation that disappears tomorrow. Today is about making a decision that changes the rest of your life. Every result you have today is a reflection of the standards you've accepted. If you want more from life, you have to demand more from yourself. Most people negotiate with their goals. They say they'll start on Monday. They'll work hard when the timing is better. They'll believe in themselves after someone else believes in them first. But champions don't negotiate. They decide. The moment you raise your standards, everything begins to change. You stop tolerating excuses. You stop settling for average. You stop accepting a life that is smaller than your potential. Success isn't created by one giant breakthrough. It's created by raising your standards every single day until excellence becomes your identity. The biggest prison in the world isn't made of steel. It's built from fear. Fear of failure. Fear of rejection. Fear of looking foolish. Fear convinces brilliant people to stay silent. It convinces talented people to play small. It convinces dreamers to remain spectators. But understand this, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward despite it. Every successful person you've ever admired has been afraid. The difference is they refuse to let fear make their decisions. Fear asks, what if you fail? Faith answers, what if you fly? The question isn't whether fear will show up. The question is who will be in control, you or your fear. Clarity is power. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. Too many people say they want success, happiness, wealth, or freedom, but they've never defined what those words actually mean. If I asked you exactly what you want your life to look like 5 years from now, could you describe it in detail? Could you explain the person you've become, the people you're helping, the habits you practice, the income you earn, and the impact you make? Vague goals produce vague results. Crystal clear vision creates focused action. The clearer your destination, the easier it becomes to make decisions that move you closer to it. Your decisions shape your destiny far more than your circumstances ever will. Every day you make choices that either move you toward your future or away from it. Choosing to wake up early. Choosing to exercise. Choosing to learn instead of scrolling endlessly. Choosing to save instead of spending. These small decisions seem insignificant in the moment, but over months and years they become your life. Destiny is not one dramatic event. It's the accumulation of thousands of tiny choices made consistently over time. If you don't like where your life is heading, change the decisions you're making today. One of the greatest lies people believe is that they need more motivation before they can take action. That's backwards. Action creates motivation. You don't feel confident and then act. You act and confidence grows. You don't wait until fear disappears. You move while you're afraid. Motion changes emotion. Every small victory builds momentum. Every completed task strengthens belief. The hardest step is always the first one, but once you're moving, the impossible begins to feel possible. Failure is not your enemy. Inaction is. Every successful entrepreneur, athlete, artist, and leader has failed more times than most people have even tried. Failure is feedback. It's information. It tells you what doesn't work so you can discover what does. Imagine if a child gave up after falling the first time they tried to walk. None of us would ever stand. Yet adults expect perfection on their first attempt. That's not growth. That's ego. Growth requires humility. It requires the willingness to look foolish while you're learning something extraordinary. The quality of your life depends on the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of asking, why am I not good enough? Ask, what skill can I improve today? Great questions create great answers. Poor questions trap you in victimhood. Powerful questions unlock possibility. Change your questions and you'll begin changing your life. Your environment matters more than you think. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, excuses, and people who laugh at ambition, your dreams will slowly shrink to match your surroundings. Protect your mind. Choose relationships that inspire growth instead of comfort. Read books that challenge you. Listen to voices that elevate your thinking. Spend time with people who remind you of who you can become instead of who you've always been. Your environment is either feeding your greatness or starving it. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. Motivation is temporary, but discipline stays when emotions disappear. There will be mornings when you don't feel like working, days when progress seems invisible, weeks when doubt becomes louder than belief. That's when discipline becomes your greatest weapon. Winners don't rely on feelings. They rely on habits. They understand that consistency beats intensity. A small effort repeated every day will always outperform massive effort done occasionally. Time is your most valuable asset because once it's gone forever. You can earn more money. You can build another business. You can recover from failure. But you cannot buy back yesterday. Every hour you waste is an investment in the life you don't want. Every hour you use wisely is an investment in the future you're creating. Ask yourself, is the way you're spending today helping the person you want to become tomorrow? If the answer is no, change it immediately. Success also requires emotional mastery. Life will test your patience. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail. Unexpected challenges will appear without warning. If every obstacle destroys your confidence, you'll never reach your destination. Emotional strength isn't pretending problems don't exist. It's refusing to let temporary setbacks define your permanent identity. Strong people don't have easier lives. They simply respond differently. They choose resilience over excuses, gratitude over bitterness, and solutions over complaints. Stop comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel. Comparison steals joy and destroys momentum. Someone will always have more money, more followers, more experience, or more opportunities. But nobody has your exact path, your unique gifts, or your purpose. The only competition that matters is the person you were yesterday. Become 1% better every day, and over time you'll become someone your past self wouldn't even recognize. Gratitude is not weakness, it's fuel. When you appreciate what you already have, you develop the energy to create even more. Complaining focuses your attention on what you lack. Gratitude focuses your attention on what's possible. This doesn't mean settling for less. It means building from a foundation of strength instead of scarcity. What the most fulfilled people are often the ones who appreciate the journey as much as the destination. Your identity determines your actions. If you believe you're lazy, you'll act like a lazy person. If you believe you're a leader, your choices begin to reflect leadership. Stop saying, I'm trying to be disciplined. Say, I am disciplined. Stop saying, I'm trying to become successful. Say, I am becoming the kind of person who creates success. Identity drives behavior. Change who you believe you are, and your actions will naturally follow. Remember that every extraordinary achievement begins with an ordinary decision. The decision to start, the decision to believe, the decision to continue when quitting would be easier. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need everyone's approval. You don't need to know every step of the journey. You only need enough courage to take the next step. Momentum belongs to those who move. There will always be people who doubt you. Some will tell you your dreams are unrealistic. Others will remind you of your past mistakes. Let them talk. Their opinions do not define your future. The loudest critics are often the people who abandoned their own dreams long ago. Don't allow someone else's fear to become your limitation. Your responsibility is not to convince everyone else. Your responsibility is to become the person your dreams require. One day, you'll look back on this chapter of your life. The question is, will you remember it as the time you kept making excuses, or the moment you finally took control? The life you want isn't waiting for luck. It isn't waiting for permission. It is waiting for you. It is waiting for your commitment, your discipline, your courage, and your relentless action. What the future belongs to those who decide that average is no longer acceptable. So stand up, raise your standards, silence your excuses. Take the first step, then the next, and then another. Keep moving when it's difficult. Keep believing when progress is slow. Keep learning when you fail. Keep showing up when no one is watching. Because the life you've always wanted isn't built in a single day. It is built one decision, one habit, one courageous action at a time. And if you refuse to quit, refuse to settle, and refuse to let fear control your destiny, there is absolutely no limit to what you can achieve. Your future begins now. The first step toward getting what you want in life is knowing exactly what you want. It sounds simple, but this is where most people fail before they even begin. They say they want success, but they can't define what success actually means. They say they want happiness, but they have no vision of what a happy life looks like. They dream about financial freedom, meaningful relationships, better health, or a fulfilling career, yet their goals remain vague wishes floating through their minds. A vague dream will always produce vague results because your mind cannot pursue a destination that doesn't exist. Imagine trying to travel across the country without choosing a city, a route, or a map. You would spend all your time moving but never truly arriving. Life works the same way. The clearer your vision becomes, the more your decisions begin to align with it. Every successful journey starts with a clear destination. And the moment you define exactly what you want, your energy, focus, and determination begin moving in the same direction. Many people spend more time planning a weekend vacation than planning the next 10 years of their lives. They wake up each morning reacting to circumstances instead of creating opportunities. They allow distractions, opinions, and temporary emotions to decide their future. But extraordinary people live differently. They know where they are going before they take the first step. They can describe their future with excitement because they have spent time creating it in their minds long before it becomes reality. Your imagination is one of the most powerful tools you possess. Everything around you was once just an idea in someone's mind. Every successful business, every invention, every remarkable achievement started as a vision that someone refused to let go of. The clearer your picture of the future becomes, the stronger your desire grows to make it real. Your mind begins searching for solutions instead of excuses because it now has something meaningful to pursue. Once you discover what you truly want, you must raise the standards you expect from yourself. Your life will never consistently rise above the standards you tolerate. If you accept procrastination, average effort, and endless excuses, those habits will become your identity. But the moment you decide that average is no longer acceptable, everything begins to change. You stop making promises that you never keep. You stop settling for comfort when growth is calling your name. Raising your standards doesn't mean becoming perfect overnight. It means refusing to accept less than your best effort. It means choosing discipline over convenience, commitment over comfort, and progress over perfection. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows stronger. When in every decision you make begins shaping a future that reflects your highest potential instead of your lowest expectations. One of the greatest obstacles to achieving your goals is allowing other people's expectations to become your own. Society often tells you what success should look like, what career you should choose, how much money you should earn, and what kind of life you should live. But if your dreams belong to someone else, your motivation will eventually disappear because your heart is not connected to that vision. Real fulfillment comes when your goals reflect your deepest values rather than the opinions of others. Take the time to ask yourself difficult questions. What excites you so much that you lose track of time? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? What impact do you want your life to have on the people around you? When your goals are built on purpose instead of pressure, they become powerful enough to keep you moving even when the journey becomes difficult. Clarity alone is not enough unless you constantly remind yourself of the future you are creating. The world is filled with distractions that compete for your attention every single day. Social media, negative conversations, temporary pleasures, and unexpected challenges can slowly pull you away from your vision if you are not careful. That is why successful people revisit their goals repeatedly. They visualize their future, write down their objectives, review their plans, and remind themselves why they started. This daily focus trains the mind to recognize opportunities that others overlook. Instead of seeing obstacles, you begin seeing possibilities. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by problems, you become energized by solutions. Your attention becomes your greatest asset because whatever consistently occupies your mind eventually influences your actions, and your actions ultimately determine your results. The beautiful truth about having absolute clarity is that it transforms uncertainty into confidence. You may not know every challenge that lies ahead, and you certainly won't have all the answers on the first day, but you no longer wander through life without direction. Every decision becomes easier because you can measure it against your vision. Every opportunity becomes clearer because you know whether it moves you closer to your destination or farther away from it. Even setbacks lose much of their power because they become temporary detours instead of permanent defeats. When your purpose is clear, your determination becomes stronger than your doubts, your focus becomes sharper than your distractions, and your desire becomes greater than your fear. That unwavering clarity becomes the foundation upon which every great achievement is built, turning ordinary effort into extraordinary results over time. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against your circumstances, your competitors, or the obstacles standing in your way. It is the battle taking place inside your own mind. Every achievement begins with a belief, and every failure often begins with doubt. Long before people fail in reality, they fail mentally by convincing themselves they are not capable, not talented enough, not experienced enough, or not worthy of success. These invisible beliefs quietly shape every decision they make. They hesitate when opportunity knocks. They stay silent when they should speak. They settle when they should strive for more. Your mind is like the operating system of your life. Whatever beliefs you install will determine how you think, how you feel, and ultimately how you act. If you continue feeding your mind with limitations, fear, and negativity, your actions will reflect those thoughts. But the moment you replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones, everything begins to shift. You start seeing possibilities where others see problems. You begin taking chances that once terrified you. The life you create tomorrow depends on the thoughts you choose to believe today. Fear is one of the most misunderstood emotions in the world. Most people believe fear is a signal to stop, to retreat, or to play it safe. But fear is often proof that you are standing at the edge of growth. Think about every major breakthrough in your life, whether it was starting a new job, speaking in front of people, launching a business, moving to a new place, or making a life-changing decision. Fear was probably standing right beside you. The difference between successful people and everyone else is not that they experience less fear. The difference is that they refuse to let fear become the author of their future. They understand that courage is not waiting until fear disappears. Courage is choosing to move forward while your heart is racing. Your hands are shaking and uncertainty surrounds you. Every time you confront fear, instead of avoiding it, you weaken its grip on your life and strengthen your confidence for the next challenge. One of the fastest ways to transform your mindset is by changing the conversation you have with yourself every single day. Whether you realize it or not, you are constantly speaking to yourself. The question is whether those words are building you up or tearing you down. Too many people repeat phrases like, I'm not smart enough, I'll probably fail, people like me never succeed, or it's too late for me. These thoughts become mental chains that limit what is actually possible. Imagine replacing those words with stronger beliefs. I can learn anything I commit to. Every setback makes me stronger. I am capable more than I have ever imagined, and my future is not determined by my past. At first, these statements may feel uncomfortable because your old beliefs resist change, but repetition creates conviction. The words you consistently tell yourself eventually become the reality you expect, and your expectations influence every action you take. Resilience is the hidden strength that separates those who achieve extraordinary success from those who quit too soon. Life will challenge you in ways you cannot predict. There will be disappointments, failures, criticism, rejection, and moments when it feels like nothing is working. During those times, your emotional strength becomes more valuable than your talent. Anyone can stay motivated when everything is going well, but true champions reveal themselves when life becomes difficult. Instead of asking why something bad happened, resilient people ask what lesson they can learn. Instead of allowing failure to define them, they allow it to develop them. Every obstacle becomes another opportunity to become wiser, stronger, and more prepared for the future. They understand that pressure does not create character. It reveals it. By refusing to surrender during difficult moments, they build a level of confidence that no external success could ever provide. Another powerful way to master your mind is by controlling what you allow into it. Your thoughts are influenced by the books you read, the people you spend time with, the videos you watch, the conversations you have, and the information you consume every single day. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, criticism, gossip, and hopelessness, your thinking will eventually reflect those influences. But when you intentionally feed your mind with knowledge, inspiration, wisdom, and positive challenges, your perspective begins to expand. Successful people guard their mental environment because they know that greatness begins internally before it ever appears externally. They are selective about who they listen to because they understand that every voice has the power to either strengthen their belief or weaken it. Your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant repeatedly, whether they are seeds of confidence or seeds of doubt, will eventually grow into the reality you experience. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is something you earn through action. Too many people wait until they feel confident before they take the first step, but confidence has never worked that way. It grows every time you keep a promise to yourself. It grows when you face uncomfortable situations instead of avoiding them. It grows when you continue moving despite uncertainty and refuse to let temporary setbacks define your future. Every challenge you overcome becomes evidence that you are stronger than you once believed. Every fear you conquer becomes proof that your limits were never as real as they seemed. Over time, these small victories accumulate into unshakable self-belief. Eventually, you stop asking whether you are capable because you have built a track record of proving it to yourself. Your mindset becomes your greatest advantage, your resilience becomes your greatest weapon, and your confidence becomes the unstoppable force that carries you toward every goal you have the courage to pursue. The distance between the life you dream about and the life you actually live is called action. Dreams are inspiring, goals are important, and planning has its place. But none of them have the power to transform your life until you decide to move. Too many people become trapped in endless preparation. They spend months researching, waiting for the perfect opportunity, hoping the timing will improve, or believing they need one more course, one more book, or one more sign before they begin. The truth is that perfect conditions rarely exist. Success has never belonged to those who waited for certainty. It has always belonged to those who were willing to take the first step despite uncertainty. Every successful entrepreneur, athlete, artist, and leader once stood exactly where you are now, facing doubts and unanswered questions. The only difference is that they refused to let uncertainty become an excuse. They understood that action creates clarity, while hesitation creates regret. The moment you start moving, you begin discovering opportunities that were completely invisible while you were standing still. One of the greatest myths about success is that motivation must come before action. People often say they are waiting to feel inspired, waiting for confidence to arrive, or waiting until they finally feel ready. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Action is what creates motivation. Think about the times you dreaded starting a difficult task. The hardest part was almost always beginning. Once you took that first step, your energy changed, momentum replaced resistance, and confidence started to grow. Every small accomplishment creates evidence that you are capable of more than you believed. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for the wind before raising your sails. Instead, raise the sails first by taking action, and motivation will follow. The more consistently you act, the more your mind begins to believe that success is not something distant, but something you are actively creating every single day. Massive success is never the result of one extraordinary effort. It is built through small, consistent actions repeated over time. People admire the finished product, but rarely see the years of discipline behind it. They see the successful business, but not the countless early mornings. They see the championship trophy, but not the thousands of hours spent training when nobody was watching. They see financial freedom, but not the sacrifices made along the journey. Greatness is hidden inside ordinary routines, performed with extraordinary consistency. Every workout, every chapter you read, every skill you practice, every healthy decision you make, and every promise you keep to yourself becomes another brick in the foundation of your future. It may seem insignificant today, but consistency has a remarkable way of turning small efforts into life-changing results. While others search for shortcuts, winners simply keep showing up day after day until success becomes inevitable. Failure is not proof that you should stop. It is proof that you are trying. Every meaningful goal comes with obstacles, disappointments, and unexpected setbacks. The people who achieve extraordinary results are not those who avoid failure, but those who learn from it faster than everyone else. Each mistake contains valuable lessons that cannot be learned from comfort or success alone. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What is this experience teaching me?" Every setback can sharpen your skills, strengthen your character, and prepare you for opportunities that would have overwhelmed the person you used to be. Imagine how many remarkable inventions, businesses, and breakthroughs would never have existed if their creators had quit after the first disappointment. Failure is temporary, but giving up makes it permanent. Every time you choose to stand back up, you prove that your determination is stronger than your circumstances. Discipline becomes your greatest ally when excitement begins to fade. There will be mornings when you don't feel like working, evenings when distractions seem more appealing than progress, and moments when your results don't seem to match your effort. Those are the moments that separate dreamers from achievers. Anyone can work hard when they feel inspired, but true success belongs to those who remain committed even when motivation disappears. Discipline is choosing your future over your present comfort. It is making decisions based on your goals instead of your emotions. Every disciplined choice strengthens your character and reinforces the identity of someone who refuses to quit. Over time, discipline becomes less about forcing yourself and more about becoming the type of person who naturally does what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel in the moment. As you continue taking massive, consistent action, something extraordinary begins to happen. You stop measuring your life by how far you still have to go and start appreciating how much you have already grown. The challenges that once seemed impossible become routine. The fears that once controlled you lose their power. Your confidence no longer comes from wishing for success, but from repeatedly proving to yourself that you can overcome difficulties through persistence. Every action strengthens your belief. Every habit reinforces your identity, and every lesson prepares you for greater opportunities ahead. Eventually, people will look at your achievements and call you lucky, unaware of the countless days you chose discipline over comfort, action over excuses, and persistence over surrender. They will only see the destination, while you will know that every remarkable result was built one courageous step, one consistent habit, and one determined decision at a time. Success is not something you chase. It is something you become worthy of through the person you choose to be every single day. Too many people focus only on changing their circumstances while ignoring the need to change themselves. They want a better career without becoming more valuable. They want financial freedom without developing financial discipline. They want stronger relationships without becoming a better communicator or a more dependable person. The truth is that your external world is often a reflection of your internal identity. If you continue thinking, acting, and believing like the person you are today, you will continue producing the same results tomorrow. But the moment you decide to transform your character, your mindset, and your daily habits, your life begins to move in a completely different direction. Every extraordinary achievement begins with an ordinary person making the extraordinary decision to grow beyond their current limitations. The question is no longer, what do I want? But rather, who must I become to earn the life I desire? Your identity is one of the most powerful forces shaping your future. Every action you take is influenced by what you believe about yourself. If you see yourself as someone who always quits, you will unconsciously look for reasons to give up whenever life becomes difficult. If you believe you are someone who lacks discipline, you will continue making choices that reinforce that belief. But identity can be rewritten. Instead of defining yourself by your past mistakes, begin defining yourself by the future you are committed to creating. Start saying, I am someone who keeps my promises. I am someone who learns from failure. I am someone who finishes what I start. At first, these words may feel unfamiliar, but every time you act in alignment with them, they become stronger. Eventually, discipline is no longer something you force yourself to practice. It becomes part of who you are. Confidence stops being an emotion you hope to feel and becomes the natural result of living according to the standards you have chosen. The people you surround yourself with have an extraordinary influence on the person you become. Whether you realize it or not, attitudes are contagious. Spend enough time around people who constantly complain, make excuses, and settle for mediocrity, and sooner or later those habits begin to influence your own thinking. On the other hand, when you surround yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you, and encourage you to grow, your perspective begins to expand. They push you to aim higher, think bigger, and refuse to settle for less than your potential. This does not mean everyone in your life must be successful by society's standards. It means choosing relationships that encourage honesty, accountability, optimism, and continuous improvement. Sometimes becoming the person you are meant to be requires having the courage to leave environments that no longer support your growth. Your future is shaped not only by the choices you make, but also by the voices you allow to influence those choices every single day. One of the defining qualities of people who achieve lasting success is that they never stop learning. The world is constantly changing, and those who refuse to grow eventually get left behind. Every book you read, every skill you develop, every mentor you learn from, and every challenge you overcome adds another layer to the person you are becoming. Knowledge creates opportunities that ignorance can never see. The most successful individuals understand that education does not end when school is over. It becomes a lifelong commitment. They remain curious, ask better questions, seek constructive feedback, and stay humble enough to admit there is always more to learn. Growth is not about proving how much you already know. It is about remaining open to becoming wiser tomorrow than you are today. Every lesson you embrace increases your value, and as your value grows, so do the opportunities that come into your life. Another essential part of becoming the person who deserves success is learning to protect your most valuable resource, your time. Every day, you are given the same 24 hours as every high achiever in history. The difference lies in how those hours are invested. Successful people understand that time is too valuable to waste on endless distractions, negative thinking, or habits that lead nowhere. They are intentional with their priorities because they know that every hour spent wisely brings them closer to the future they envision. This does not mean they never rest or enjoy life. It means they understand the difference between purposeful recovery and careless procrastination. They choose activities that strengthen their minds, bodies, and character instead of allowing temporary pleasures to steal permanent opportunities. Every minute becomes an investment in the person they are becoming. And over time, those investments produce extraordinary returns that cannot be achieved through talent alone. The most inspiring truth about personal transformation is that it never truly ends. Becoming the person who deserves success is not a destination you reach once and then forget about. It is a lifelong commitment to continuous improvement. Every new goal requires a stronger version of yourself. Every greater opportunity demands greater wisdom, discipline, patience, and resilience. The moment you believe you have learned enough or grown enough is the moment progress begins to slow. The people who leave the greatest impact on the world remain students throughout their lives. They continue refining their character, strengthening their habits, expanding their vision, and raising their standards regardless of how much they have already achieved. They understand that the greatest competition is not with anyone else, but with the person they were yesterday. As they continue evolving, success becomes more than an achievement. It becomes the natural consequence of the remarkable individual they have chosen to become through consistent growth, unwavering commitment, and an unbreakable dedication to living at their highest potential. As you leave today, remember this: the life you've always dreamed of is not waiting for luck, perfect timing, or someone else's permission. It is waiting for you to make a decision to gain absolute clarity about what you truly want, a decision to master your mind instead of letting fear control your future, a decision to take massive, consistent action even when the path is uncertain, and most importantly, a decision to become the kind of person who naturally attracts success through discipline, growth, and unwavering commitment. Every extraordinary life begins with one courageous choice: the choice to stop making excuses and start taking responsibility for your destiny. There will be days when progress feels slow, when obstacles seem overwhelming, and when quitting appears easier than continuing. In those moments, remember why you started. Remember that every successful person you admire once stood exactly where you are now, filled with doubts, fears, and unanswered questions. They didn't succeed because they were fearless. They succeeded because they refused to let fear have the final word. Every challenge you overcome builds your character. Every setback teaches a lesson. Every small step forward brings you closer to the life you deserve. Keep showing up. Keep believing and keep moving forward, even when no one else sees your progress. Your future is not created by what you hope will happen someday. It is created by what you choose to do today. The habits you build, the standards you raise, the people you surround yourself with, and the actions you take every single day will determine where you stand 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years from now. Refuse to settle for average when greatness is possible. Refuse to let yesterday define tomorrow. Believe in your potential, trust the process, and never stop growing. Because if you commit to becoming stronger than your excuses, bigger than your fears, and more determined than your obstacles, there is absolutely nothing that can stop you from creating the life you've always wanted. The moment you decide to change is the moment your future begins. Make that decision today and never look back.